There are mornings when you wake up and something heavy sits on your chest, a quiet pressure, a silent battle. You open your eyes, and for a moment, you don't know if you have the strength to deal with the same doubts, the same noise, the same inner war that has been stalking you for years. You feel the weight of expectations, the weight of mistakes, the weight of everything you've not yet become. And somewhere inside you, a voice whispers, "Is this all I am?" But there is another voice, buried deeper, older, quieter, stronger. A voice men once built empires with, a voice that survived storms, exile, hunger, loss, and still stood tall. Today, you're going to meet that voice, and the 10 things you tell yourself this morning will decide whether you break under your life or rise above it. And the truth is, most men never learn how powerful that first morning thought truly is. Most people wake up and immediately surrender. They grab their phone, open their mind to chaos, and let the world dictate their mood, their identity, their worth. They don't realize the mind is a battlefield, and the first moments of the morning are when that battle is either won or lost. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your suffering doesn't come from the world. It comes from the stories you rehearse in your head before the day even starts. You are not tired of life. You are tired of the thought patterns that have chained you to old versions of yourself. What you tell yourself each morning becomes the armor or the prison you wear all day. And if you don't consciously build that inner defense, the world will tear apart whatever weak foundation remains. This is why the ancient Stoics always began the day with a mental ritual, a reframing, a sharpening of the mind, a silent preparation for the inevitable storms of human existence. Attitude 1, the inner anchor. Tell yourself, "I will not be moved by the emotions of the morning." Most people wake up emotionally fragile. Their mood at sunrise decides their entire day. But a Stoic learns to separate the feeling from the action. You don't need to feel strong to act strong. You don't need to feel ready to begin. Psychology shows that morning emotions are unstable, heavily influenced by sleep cycles and cortisol peaks. They are illusions, not truths. When you anchor yourself, you refuse to base your actions on temporary inner weather. You step into the day like a warrior entering battle, not relying on comfort, but on discipline. When Marcus Aurelius felt exhaustion, he reminded himself, "You weren't made for comfort. The anchor shifts everything. You become steady, grounded, harder to manipulate, harder to break. Your morning feelings stop being the enemy, and you stop being their prisoner." Attitude 2, the unfinished story. Tell yourself, "Who I was yesterday is gone." People wake up every morning carrying the weight of every mistake they've ever made. They replay old failures until they become part of their identity. But identity is not a memory. Identity is a choice. Neuroscience shows the brain rewrites itself constantly. Every morning, you are literally not the same person you were the day before, unless you choose to rehearse the same patterns of thought. The Stoics believed the past has no claws unless you offer your flesh to it. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." When you tell yourself your story is unfinished, you release the tight grip of regret. You give yourself permission to evolve. This attitude dissolves shame, silences self-doubt, and makes space for a new self to emerge. Yesterday can't stop you unless you keep dragging it into today. Attitude 3, the ownership principle. Tell yourself, "Everything is my responsibility." It's not about blame, it's about power. The moment you take responsibility for your reactions, your choices, your mindset, your direction, you take back the power the world once stole from you. Most people live in a constant state of helplessness because they assign responsibility to circumstances, to other people, to fate. The Stoics saw this as the death of inner strength. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you accept responsibility, a psychological shift happens. You stop waiting, you stop hoping, you stop depending on people who were never going to save you. You realize that the next chapter of your life is written by your decisions, not your conditions. When everything becomes your responsibility, everything becomes your opportunity. And suddenly, the world feels conquerable again. Attitude 4, the calm blade. Tell yourself, "I will not respond with emotion, I will respond with clarity." Human beings are wired to react. It is biological. Quick reactions kept our ancestors alive. But in the modern world, emotional reactions are what destroy relationships, reputations, opportunities, and inner peace. The Stoics believed calmness is the highest form of power because calmness is chosen, not triggered. When you speak from emotion, you lose control. When you speak from clarity, you command respect. Psychologists call this the pause gap, the ability to insert a breath between impulse and action. This single second can save you from saying what you'll regret or doing what damages your future. Think of a blade kept in water, not fire. Still, sharp, precise. That's the mind you're training when you adopt this morning attitude. You become harder to provoke, harder to manipulate. You gain an authority that doesn't shout, it simply exists. Attitude 5, the silent competitor. Tell yourself, today I compete only with who I was yesterday. Comparison is poison. It steals your joy, your confidence, your gratitude, and your focus. The modern world traps you in constant comparison. Every achievement, every failure, every milestone measured against someone else's highlight reel. But the Stoics understood that true competition is internal. Marcus Aurelius never compared himself to other emperors. He compared himself to the man he was the day before. Psychology confirms that internal comparison creates sustainable motivation, while external comparison breeds envy and burnout. When you become your own benchmark, your progress becomes measurable, controllable, and deeply personal. You stop chasing illusions and start sharpening your reality. The world no longer distracts you. The achievements of others no longer haunt you. You walk your own path with dignity, and your pace becomes your power. Attitude 6, the controlled flame. Tell yourself, my anger serves me only when mastered. Anger is powerful energy. Left unchecked, it destroys everything in its path. But when controlled, it becomes fuel, directional, sharp, purposeful. Most people let anger use them. The Stoic warrior uses anger as a tool. Seneca warned that anger is a form of temporary madness, and modern psychology agrees. Emotional flooding shuts down the rational brain, leading to impulsive choices. But when you enter the morning reminding yourself that your flame must be controlled, you turn a volatile force into disciplined fire. You no longer erupt. You no longer burn your relationships, your focus, or your opportunities. Instead, you harness that energy and direct it toward growth, discipline, training, improvement. Anger becomes not an explosion, but momentum, not destruction, but drive. Attitude 7, the warrior's acceptance. Tell yourself, obstacles are my training. Most people want a smooth life, and that is why they remain weak. Comfort builds nothing. Ease teaches nothing. The Stoics believed obstacles were not interruptions to the path, they were the path itself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Modern psychology calls this adversarial growth. The phenomenon where people become stronger because of struggle, not in spite of it. When you begin your day accepting that hardship is part of your training, you stop resisting life. You stop wishing for ease and start preparing for challenge. Problems no longer intimidate you, they sharpen you. Every difficulty becomes an opportunity to test your character. And every morning you rise a little tougher than before. Attitude 8, the present strike. Tell yourself, I act now. Not later, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Action, in the present moment, is where your life actually changes. Procrastination is not laziness, it is fear wearing the mask of comfort. The Stoics believed hesitation was the enemy of progress. Epictetus taught that you must act without delay when virtue demands it. Psychologists reveal that immediate action reduces anxiety because the mind stops imagining the worst-case scenario and begins engaging with reality. When you tell yourself each morning that you will seize the moment, you break the mental loop that has kept you stagnant for months or years. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You become the type of person who moves while others freeze. And in a world of hesitation, the man who acts first becomes the man who wins. Attitude 9, the unshaken core. Tell yourself, no matter what happens today, I remain myself. Life is unpredictable. People change. Circumstances shift. The world can turn on you without warning. But the Stoics believed that a man's true strength lies in his unshaken inner core, his values, his character, his principles. When you anchor yourself in who you choose to be, nothing outside of you can break you inside. Modern research on resilience shows that people with strong internal identity are significantly less affected by stress. They bend, but do not snap. They adapt, but do not lose themselves. When you walk into the morning with this mindset, you become immovable. No insult pierces you, no failure defines you, no chaos inside someone else creates chaos inside you. You become solid, centered, whole, and the world cannot pull you off your axis. Now the transformation begins, because when you tell yourself these attitudes every morning, something shifts in you quietly, deeply, irreversibly. You stop waking up as a man who reacts, and you start waking up as a man who decides. You begin living life on your terms, not the world's terms. Your mind becomes calmer, clearer, more disciplined. You stop tolerating your own excuses, your own fears, your own hesitation. You look at yourself in the mirror and see someone being rebuilt each dawn, someone sharper, steadier, harder to shake. You stop being the victim of your mornings and become the author of them. You feel a different kind of strength rising in you. Not loud, not dramatic, but deep. A strength that doesn't need validation, applause, or permission. The strength of a man in control of himself. People will notice the change. They'll see you speak slower, react cleaner, move with purpose. They won't know what shifted in you, but you will. It began with the words you chose at sunrise, the identity you reinforced, the warrior you awakened. And now comes the closing, the moment where everything lands. Listen carefully. Life will not get easier. The world will not slow down for you. People will not always support you, love you, or understand you. But you do not need an easier life. You need a stronger mind, a disciplined spirit, a heart trained to stand in the fire without trembling. That is what Stoicism gives you. That is what these morning attitudes forge within you. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that he would meet ungrateful, arrogant, selfish, jealous, and angry people, but none of them had the power to corrupt his character unless he allowed it. You must remember the same. Your power does not lie in controlling the world. Your power lies in controlling yourself. Your thoughts, your reactions, your direction. And when a man becomes master of his mind, he becomes master of his destiny. So walk into the day with the quiet confidence of someone who has already overcome the hardest part, his own inner chaos. The world will feel different, but only because you are different. You've completed the ritual. Now carry it into the world. And if this message strengthened you, then take a moment to join this channel, subscribe, and stand with the people who are rebuilding themselves from within. Leave a comment telling me which morning attitude you will adopt first. Your words might inspire someone else who woke up today feeling lost, tired, or defeated. And remember, your morning decides your mind. Your mind decides your day, and your day decides your life. Choose your mornings wisely, choose yourself intentionally, and walk forward with the discipline of a man who refuses to be defeated by anything, including himself.